Right. We also had some boxing matches. I'm gonna throw that over to Jay. You can take lead on this. I don't know nothing about them people that was fighting.
All right. Gervonta Davis fought Hector Garcia in the PBC. Hey, Hughes, what weight class is that? Is that lightweight?
135.
That's lightweight.
Yeah,
Lightweight. Okay. Uh, Fight ended in a stoppage between the eighth and ninth round. Uh, Tank Gervonta Davis hit Garcia with a punch. The round ends. Garcia says to his corner and to the doctors that he can't see. The ref waves off the fight. It was a great fight night for me. Before we get to the conclusion, in the middle of round 8, a fight breaks out in the middle of the crowd. It's rumored to be Meek Mill fighting with what's the boxer? Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah, Gary Russell Jr.
Yep. And they stop the fight for a few minutes, clear out the arena. They restart the fight. Tank finishes the fight in between the 8th and ninth round. I think it was a tune-up fight for Tank on his way to fighting Ryan Garcia. But in terms of Tank's, I guess Tank's how he came out looking, I think he looked great in his fight. I think it was a perfect tune-up fight, man. And on to the next. What do you think, Hughes?
That guy was not a tune-up. Garcia could fight his ass off. He had just recently beat Colbert, a guy from Brooklyn, New York, that was kind of calling Tank out, but he never signed a contract. Garcia's a tough guy. You can see that he can really punch. But what he ran into is Tank's movement and Tank's power, And so I thought it was a good night of fighting compared to the BOK event that happened December the 10th. Overall, I'm ready for this Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight. So it was a good fight. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight too. Tank, man, that boy got some power, man. He got some power. He starts slow. He seems like the match is kind of slow, kind of looking at with his opponents. He just slow with it, taking his time. Then he just so explosive, man. He started hitting that boy with some haymakers. So I thought it was a good fight. I think that Garcia Tank fight gonna be a good one.
I think so too.
Hector Garcia 16-0. I know he was a tough fighter. He beat a champion. He got a good upset to get that belt. But you don't consider him a tune-up fight?
Nah, he's tricky. He's a Dominican guy that's a good counter punch. You can see he was tagging Tank. You know what I'm saying? He got good power with him. His problem is that he stands there. I think he would be a good opponent for Shakur or a good opponent for Devin Haney, because I would like to see where their chin is at, because that guy hits hard. You know what I'm saying? He caught Tank a couple of times, but Tank hit him a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's like no dude. He really shouldn't have been the guy that Tank fought right before the big money fight with Ryan Garcia. You at least want to fight somebody that has like four defeats or something like that. But he chose an undefeated guy to bring to his hometown, and that says a lot about him, because that dude could have spoiled the party had he been tripping. It's a lot of pressure to fight in front of your hometown fans and stuff like that.
Do you think Tank? You think he a technician as far as fighting? Because he kind of reminds me a little bit like Mike Tyson, where he's waiting on his big blow to come. I don't know if somebody went in there with a game plan on him, I think he may have some problem. What you think about that?
So
I'm sorry. That's exactly what I said when I saw him fight like the last time. He seems real vulnerable, real emotional, beatable to me. Go ahead, Hughes.
So the two guys that you seen him fight last were kind of bigger him in size and strong. So you have to look at a fight like he fought a Mexican dude named Isaac Cruz, little short guy, shorter than Tank. Tank hurt his hand in the fight. So he had the jab and just used pivotal movement. So he fights different from your typical boxer that uses a jab and controls the pace with his jab. What Tank does, he does a lot of pivotal movement, and he waits for you to make mistakes. So he can beat you and catch you going forward while he's moving forward, or he can catch you and knock you out while he's moving backwards. That's how deadly he is. And he explodes on you. So he can just squat down. You know, if you punch it down hard on him and you miss, he gonna make you pay. He's that kind of dude like that. And his power transfers from the first round all the way to the 12th round. He has power in both his hands. He don't really get tired like that. And he don't gas out like Mike Tyson used to do. If Mike Tyson could really knock you out in the 7th round, then you know you really could coast on with Mike Tyson, get to a 12th round victory. With Tank, you have to be on your P's and Q's, because if he catch you standing in front of him and he drop it on you, remember he's southpaw. He catch you standing in front of him, he'll knock your lights off. So he's a real tough dude. He's short and compact, you know. You could pass some points on him, you know what I'm saying? But overall, when he come for you, you better have enough power in your tank to survive the dude.
Let's go back to the beginning of this conversation and talk about that shade you try to drop on Crawford with that BOK prime comment. How do you compare this to their first pay-per-view?
Because it wasn't their first boxing match, their first pay-per-view. Okay. So when I compare Crawford, who's been fighting longer than Tank, and the type of opponent that he brought home to his fan base with a big matchup, Tank win all day. Tank had a better card. So even though that was BOK's first pay-per-view, that's on them if they put together a sloppy card of opponents for everybody. You know, Crawford had on the table a big money fight with Spence that didn't come through. So this opponent that you got from the UK, that wasn't a good quality opponent for your hometown fans. I mean, they're gonna support you on GP, but to sell that to the fans, that wasn't no good fight. That wasn't no good card. That's my personal opinion. When I compare the PBC card, man, they was hype up in that fight. Tank sold that place out. You know what I'm saying? He had all the stars out there, you know, movie stars, basketball, entertainer, rappers. You didn't see none of that at that BOK event. You didn't see no entertainers in that kind of environment in Omaha, Nebraska for Terance Crawford, because he didn't bring an opponent with him.
But Tank is a way bigger. Don't you think he's a way bigger star though than Crawford?
Here's the thing: not if you go on ESPN. Terance Crawford is considered the number 1 pound per pound fighter.
No, we're talking about a draw. You know, marketing wise.
How can the number 1 pound per pound fighter not be a better draw?
I mean, they're two different things. Wow. You can be the best and not be able to sell tickets. That
makes no sense. The pound for pound fighter is supposed to be the biggest name in boxing. That's
not necessarily.
Roy Jones. That's Pernell Whitaker. That's Floyd Mayweather, and that's Canelo. Those are your former pound per pound fighters. Now you add Terance Crawford to the list, and nobody knows.
When you say pound for pound, you're talking about skill. You're not talking about sales.
Right.
We're talking about a guy that fought on ESPN for Top Rank, one of the best promotional companies in boxing.
Just because you're the best boxer don't mean you the biggest draw. Tyson is the biggest draw when he was fighting, even when he was losing.
Who was his promotion company?
It don't matter.
It matters.
He wanted to see Tyson, and he wasn't the best boxer at the tail end of his career. He wasn't the best boxer, but people would pay to see him more than the champion at the time.
So, at what point was he the best boxer? Early on in his career, middle of his career? What point was he the best boxer?
He never was.
Okay. He never was. He was just
he always was a draw, right? Yep. From New York. So he's from Catskills, New York. Fought all over the country. Fought all over the globe. Terance Crawford from Omaha, Nebraska, and that's the only place where he fights. Fought for the number 1 promoter, which is Top Rank. They had him on ESPN. He started off on HBO, so he's been on network after network. He's on the recognizable list. Everybody in the industry, in the boxing industry, knows his name. So if he can't sell, that ain't no knock towards Gervonta, who just came in under a low-level promotional company by the name of Mayweather Promotions. And he's from Baltimore, and he sold out arenas in Brooklyn. He sold out arenas in Las Vegas. He sold out arenas in Atlanta, and he sold out in his hometown. So how is that even comparable? And he's not even ranked on the list.
Hughes, your hate for Tank for Crawford runs so deep, man.
I'm spitting facts.
So deep.
I'm
so
facts.
It's all in you. You hate this man. He is not a pay-per-view draw.
I'm a boxing fan.
I'm gonna leave you with this, Hughes.
Okay.
Your talent doesn't mean you're a big draw. Tito Trinidad was the best boxer for a while, but he wasn't the biggest draw.
What?
He wasn't. Roy Jones was.
You kind of got that.
Roy Jones was the bigger draw.
No. Tito Trinidad had a whole nation behind him, Puerto Rico. Whenever he would fight in Puerto Rico, he would sell it out. Whenever Don King would bring him to New York and Madison Square Garden, they would sell it out. Before Mayweather did pay-per-views, Oscar and Tito had the number one. They had the number one pay-per-view buys.
Who was the bigger draw at the time, Tito or Roy Jones?
Tito.
Roy Jones, all his pay-per-view fights, you didn't even know the opponents.
But no. Who was the bigger draw between Oscar De La Hoya and Tito?
Oscar
De La Hoya. But Tito was the best boxer. Right? So Oscar De La Hoya. So
he was not the best boxer. He was the harder puncher between the two. He was not the best boxer. He was the harder.
You don't think Tito? You don't think for a time period, Tito was the best pound for pound boxer in fighting?
No.
Period.
That was your guy too, wasn't it? See,
that was my guy.
That's my guy too. But no,
I don't think he ever was.
For a period, I think for a 1 or 2.5 year period, he was the best.
He got that. He was anointed that once he got the decision against De La Hoya, which he really didn't do anything.
Yeah, he got our box, but he wasn't speaking English, so they couldn't really market him like that.
But no, what I'm saying, I get that he had a good draw, but he was considered the best fighter of a point in time. But the biggest draw that same time was Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah, Oscar was bigger than him.
So to Ant's point, you don't have to be the best fighter, and to Jay's point, the best fighter is not always the biggest draw. Oscar was the biggest draw.
So give me a scenario where the pound for pound best fighter was not the biggest draw.
I just did. Tito was not the biggest draw during that De La Hoya era.
Yeah,
he was the best fighter.
De La Hoya had 2 fights with Chavez. He had a fight with Pernell Whitaker. So Tito had only had, if I'm not mistaken, that could have been his first pay-per-view fight.
But Tito fought everybody. He was the best fighter and fought all comers for a period of time. He fought everybody that came. And he drew good. Good, but the mega fight was the De La Hoya fight because De La Hoya drew more. He had the biggest. I thought he had the biggest draw.
No, so Tito didn't clear out the welterweight division. De La Hoya did. So Tito never fought Ike Corte, the African. De La Hoya did. Tito never.
But would you agree that Tito was the better fighter?
He was the harder puncher. He was not.
You don't think he was a better fighter than De La Hoya?
Nah, he lost. He got our box. That's my boy. He got our box.